This is one of the rifles I inherited from my father. It's a Remington Model 700. It's chambered in 7mm Remington Magnum. It's got a Leupold M8 4X scope on it. But it's been bothering me that when I bring this out into the woods that it's going to get scratched, this stock is. And I'd like to keep this stock preserved as close to how he had it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this burlap and some camo material, and I'm going to add some camouflage cover on the stock and the barrel to just give it a little added protection. I'm also going to install a Harris bipod and a single point sling adapter to use with this LaRue sling. I'm going to be making that out of some clothesline cord I grabbed out of the storage building. The first thing I'm going to do is give this rifle a good brush down, get all the dirt and moisture off of it. After cutting these strips for the rifle, I make little incisions, segmenting them every so often. I then take a pair, stretch this out with my feet, take a pair of scissors and fray it up and down till this becomes like a hair. Okay, I frayed a long strip of this burlap to wrap around the rifle. It's plenty long enough, and I guess it's time to begin wrapping. After fraying the strips, I'm going to wrap the rear and forward stock and barrel. For the rear stock, I'm going to put the frays pointing towards the butt of the rifle. And for the forward stock and the barrel, I'm going to have them pointed towards the muzzle. Now this stock has a nice ridge here, and also the sling swivel hole that I'll just be able to tie this burlap to itself. You could also use some kind of tape, but I'm going to try to avoid tape when I can. Okay, now I've tied the burlap to itself, and I'm going to wrap the stock. And when I'm done wrapping, I'll pull all the excess area off from the end of the burlap and use it to tie itself back around the stock. After tying it at the very end here, I'll take some extra discarded long strands and I will wrap them around every few inches and tie an additional knot to keep it from slipping. After giving this a good haircut and cleaning up the mess I made, I think I'm finally satisfied with the results. There's a few things I wanted to mention. You don't want any burlap overhanging your muzzle. For one, it's a chance it could catch on fire. Stuff burns very quickly. Two, you don't want anything to deviate the bullet as it leaves the muzzle, or possibly fragment the bullet as it leaves the muzzle. The other thing is anytime you start wrapping your barrel in something, you create an inconsistency between shots. Any pressure placed that is not the same between every single shot can cause the rifle to be less accurate. So I'll be shooting at ranges at most 200 yards, maybe up to 400 yards, but I don't suspect this is going to be causing any too much problems. If I was shooting longer range, I would definitely need to do some testing to see how much this factors in to the accuracy of my rifle. The same principle applies to the scope. When you're tying off this burlap, if you start tying it to the scope mount or tugging on this scope tube when you're tying it off, you risk the chance of creating pressure that could offset the zero you had already set. Now, I left these adjustments bare. I'm not really wanting to do a full camouflage job so much as just something to help protect the stock a little bit. If I was wanting to do a full camouflage job, I'd probably drape the rifle with the netting and secure it with rubber bands or thread, and then loop and tie individual segments of strings of burlap like hair running the length of the rifle. Now, you know, a lot of scopes have rear focus adjustment, so they might have a parallax adjustment. So if I left any areas that might need to be adjusted bare, because this burlap, it rotates around the tube pretty easily, and it'd be difficult to fine-tune any adjustments you have if you wrap it with burlap, as it's just going to be sliding around the tube, making it hard. Now, I left the action in the place where I hold the rifle bare. I didn't want to create any problems with me if I get into a hurry and need to reload or something. For one, my hands will be wrapped around this pretty much at all times if I'm walking with it through the woods or something. And if something starts to rub against this, my hands are going to feel it first, so I'll readjust myself so that my hands won't get scratched up either. I did stick with the original sling my father had on this rifle. The other sling had a metal quick release latches at each end of it, and I was afraid that that would rub against the stock and ding into it as I was walking along. The hair spy pot installed well, and I sandwiched some burlap between it and the stocks just to add some threads that would kind of hang down and conceal it just a little bit. And next I'm going to show you why it's important to put fire retardant on your rifle if you suspect that your barrel is going to be excessively hot from excessive shooting, or if you think you might be around an open flame. I wanted to demonstrate what I meant by that you may want to use a fire retardant. So I'm out here in the dark and I'm about to light some of this on fire to show you how quickly it burns. Now if that was in front of your muzzle, your gun, all of that camouflage would catch on fire. People that use this to make ghillie suits, it's also very important that they put fire retardant on their suits.